Yeah, I mean, that's a very good question, and it's not just a rhetorical question. I mean, why not do that? So I know that Will has run an ethical career seminar last term, looking at what is the most ethical career for someone to take up if one really wants to help people in the world and focused on actually helping. And the conclusions were that actually, well, part of the conclusions any money we earn ends up dwarfing the benefits that we can produce within our jobs in almost all cases. As a simple example of that, consider that if you earn 10 times the salary working for a bank as you would, say, being an aid worker, is that you could actually just donate 9 parts of that and pay 9 aid workers who wouldn't otherwise be funded in order to do that job and produce 9 times the benefit. So, assuming you can get willing people to do it. But generally speaking, there are arguments like this which suggest that if you really do want to help people, earning a lot of money is a really effective way to do it because donations are so important. One thing I was really surprised to find after looking at all this, I thought that voluntary work was just not going to be able to compete because it's very difficult with voluntary work to, let's say, save 10 years worth of life per hour I spend volunteering. That's pretty difficult to have happen. Whereas that's like at least what I could earn if I just spent that time working instead of donating money. But I was surprised to find that because I've actually gone to the effort to set up an organisation looking at this, that within a couple of years where we've got $30 million worth of pledges, which is more than my lifetime's earnings, and it's eminently possible for people in this room for helping out with this kind of thing, that they can also produce more wealth going to help the poorest people by convincing others that their entire lifetime earnings within a relatively short period of time could actually be the largest contribution they can make if they can really focus on the high leverage areas. But ultimately, money is just a lot more important than we might have thought. It really is useful to get some of these things to happen because we're, relatively speaking, just got a whole load of it compared to other people. So it's one of our most valuable resources. Yeah.
Let me just add one thing to that before you all rush off for these high-paying jobs in the city. You do need to be pretty confident about your moral fibre here, right? Your character, because as I said before, we do tend to follow others around us, and if you start working in the city, it's possible that you'll adopt the lifestyle and the ethos of the people with you. So unless you drive a high-quality prestige car, you're feeling inferior, unless you have a luxurious apartment or something. So you have to be confident that you're going to keep up your values so that by earning 10 times as much, you now will be able to give a much higher percentage of what you're giving to where it goes to, rather than feeling that your needs have just increased to absorb your higher salary.
Two questions. First one, your talk was premised upon the idea of intragenerational equity, and I'm wondering if you also believe in intergenerational equity, and if so, what are the consequences for giving to charities that focus on systemic change or sustainability? And as a second question, use your metric as dailies, but doesn't that mean that by encouraging everyone to have lots of babies, you are generating lots of dailies? And would that be a more cost-effective means of generating dailies under the scheme?
Questions there. The first question on intergenerational issues, and long-term issues as well. It's a really interesting question, and I think that often we could produce very large benefits through long-term measures. I'll also, on that topic, we should also think about there can be benefits from giving early. For example, if we empower people in the community early, then that can reduce kind of exponentiating returns. So we do need to think about that. So you would need, for instance, a version of discount rate you need to think about for any long-term benefits in terms of the compounding benefits of donating early. That's something to consider, but yeah, I think that long-term things can be really important, and improving people's lot along the way to the future is critically important. So that's a really good point. With regard to the question about could we just move to a whole lot of new people, thereby increase the number of colleagues or talents, to decrease talents perhaps. It doesn't actually decrease talents, but talents is kind of immune to that argument. But qualities, it would. I'm not saying that health-related quality of life is the only are many things that matter, and it's just one of them. And there are also particular issues which come up with creating new people in changing some of these things. That said, there are also some issues about overpopulation that we want to be careful about in some of these areas. It turns out, in general, overpopulation is not quite the issue that many of us think it might be. Some people say you should just let people die because of overpopulation. That's a bad argument for a couple of reasons. One is that that argument also applies to the NHS. We can just save a lot of money and not fund it or let everyone die because of overpopulation. And we say, oh, we don't need an arse. There's something where it does go on those arguments. Also, there's the issue that in the 60s, the number of children per woman in the world was about 8 as a global average. Now the number, the global average is 2.4. So it's radically changed. In fact, it's around about the point where if it kept up at this rate, it would reach a steady state or even decline, except for the fact that there's a population lag. So it's still going up because of the age cohorts of where people are, but more of them are childbearing age because of the previous boom in the 60s. So it's overpopulation is perhaps not what it was, but it still could be an issue where you want to be cautious about some of these questions. There's lots to think about there. I should also say on that topic that on the Giving What We Can website, as well as this calculator to see how rich you are on a global scale, you can also find some other things such as we've got a nice page called Myths About Aid, and we detail in nice brief summaries responses to all of things, including questions about the population, and also questions like Bill Easterwood's figures and so on. We break it down and we can show the types of arguments